Come to judge.
Should be out there on the golf course.
He shuffles some papers and murmurs
Oh my goodness.
as he shakes his head. The youth are marched into the courtroom by the court assistant. The youth begin talking amongst themselves. The judge bangs on his gavel. The judge bangs his gavel on the desk and says,
Order in the court. I said order in the court.
the court assistant moves to stand next to the judge's desk and says,
This court will now come into order. All rise.
everyone stands. The court assistant says,
Family court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Frank Ishman will be presiding. Everyone please be seated.
It has come to the attention of the court that these number of offenses have been committed by these young people. Therefore, we will be tried and sentenced today.
Will the defendants please rise and put their hands on the Bible? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
all of the young people place their right hands on the Bible and say,
We do.
the prosecuting attorney, the Honorable Darrell A. Thomas Sr., Esquire, approaches the first young person.
Young man, would you please stand up so the people can get a good look at the line?
I object, Your Honor.
Let's listen in as the prosecuting attorney continues with his barrage of questions and accusations.
Young man, is it true that you snuck out of the house last week, stole your father's car, went down to Hillsdale Mall with a couple of your friends, and stole video games from GameStop? And then on the way back home, you ran a red light and crashed into a stop sign. And on top of all that, you try to cover it all up by spraying over the dip with a can of paint. Is this story true? Yes or no? Why won't you answer me? Don't you know that driving without a license, theft, and destroying public property is a crime?
Guilty.
The young man sits down and hangs his head because he is embarrassed and ashamed. The prosecuting attorney moves immediately to the next youth, a young girl who
Sit down.
knows
Nobody
the
told you to
same
stand
kind
up
of
here.
ridicule.
You have to sit.
Questioning and accusing.
That's why she's in trouble now. Young lady, is it true that you stayed up late one night after your parents went to bed? Just so you can send nasty text messages to all the kids you don't like at school, especially the little girl that stole your boyfriend. And didn't you say some mean and unkind things about her? That she was ugly and nobody liked her? Don't you know that cyberbullying is a crime? You could be taken to jail, suspended the whole 9 yards.
Not exactly.
The young girl sits down and hangs her head because she is embarrassed and ashamed. The prosecuting attorney smiles a devilish grin, cracks his knuckles, and pats himself on the back. He is running up to roast the last young person, a shy young girl.
Stand up so I can look at you. She look innocent, don't she? She look real innocent. But no, she's not innocent. She was seen late one night using and abusing drugs with a group of older teens who do nothing but cause trouble in the neighborhood. You knew your parents was out of town. You should have been with your Aunt Kia, but no. You wanted to be on the corner hanging with the kids when you knew good and well that 10 o'clock was a curfew. Young man, be quiet while court is in session. I'm speaking to her right now. You knew your 10 o'clock was your curfew. And instead, you were standing on the corner, using and abusing drugs and alcohol, which is not cool at all. No, I'm not through with you yet. I'm not through with you yet. Stand back up. Don't you know that young people under the age of 21 are not supposed to be drinking alcohol or using drugs, let alone be out past your curfew? Answer me. Oh, my.
Guilty.
Yes.
The second young girl sits down and hangs her head because she is embarrassed and ashamed. The prosecuting attorney wipes his hands as if he is wiping off a lot of dirt from between his fingers. All of the young people have been tried and convicted of their crimes. The prosecuting attorney smiles and sits down. The court assistant says,
The defendants will now rise for their sentencing.
the three defendants stand up. The judge then begins to deliver his closing speech.
You naughty little boys and girls. You've been tried and found guilty of the crime stated in this courtroom today. You must bear your punishment for your crimes, and my job will be done.
At this point, the defense attorney stands and asks if she may approach the bench. The judge is surprised by this last-minute move, but consents with a nod of his head. The defense attorney and the prosecuting attorney approach the judge's bench and have a hushed conference there for a few seconds, which seems like an eternity. The prosecuting attorney is visibly upset at what the defense attorney is proposing, but the audience can't hear what is being said. Finally, the conference is over and both attorneys return to their seats. The judge directs his attention back to the youth and says,
It appears that the defense attorney has something up her sleeve, and a plea bargain has been made for an alternative redemption for you defendant's punishment. It pleases the court to inquire into this matter to see if there's anyone in this courtroom who's willing to bear the punishment for these young people's crimes in order for they may go free.
This announcement stuns the audience, and after a moment of silence as everyone looks around, something surprising happens. Then quietly, a parent of each young person walks up and stands behind their child in silence and places a hand on the shoulders of their young children to await the sentencing. Family members and friends for each young person also approach the bench to offer their silent support and hope the judge will be lenient. The judge is moved by this show of support for these young people, and he says tenderly,
Parents, are you willing to bear the punishment for these people's crimes in order for they may go free?
Just before each parent is ready to respond to the judge's question, he notices another figure standing behind the parents and their children. The figure looks familiar, unfamiliar, but at the same time looks so familiar.
That's Jesus!
The figure raises his hand and says in a voice loud enough for everyone to hear,
Your Honor, all fines are paid in full. They will now work with me to build my Father's kingdom here on earth. Just as I forgave them of their shortcomings, my Father in heaven shall forgive them too. We will now harvest. We need workers for harvest. Is truly plentiful, but laborers are few.
As the young people and their parents hug each other and thank the figure who came to their rescue, we all need to remember the words found in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 1 through 12, which reads, Imitate God, therefore, in everything you do, because you are his dear children. Live a life filled with love, following the example of Christ. He loved us and offered himself as a sacrifice for us, a pleasing aroma to God. The theme for today is Family and Friends Day, multiplying relationships. Our intent is to reinvite all members of our church community to renew their commitment to doing the work our Heavenly Father has called us to do. Everyone is important to the future of Christianity in our cities, our state, our country, and in the world. There's plenty of work for youth, young people, young adults, middle-aged, and older adults. We need to be about our Father's business. Heed the call, get involved in this church or a church in your community, and to God be the glory.
Amen.